A UBI program in California was started by Mayor Michael Tubbs, and this UBI program is a pilot program, a pilot program, and it started 2 years ago in October of 2019. And in a sense, what happened was, or early 2019, what happened was, uh, they wanted to give $500 to 125 individuals. Um, and so they did that. And the first thing that I'll say is, uh, I told you so. Okay, a lot of people have been telling me for a while because I was against UBI for a little bit. Right? But I'm just gonna say I told a lot of you who said, "Oh, it's not gonna work." I told you so. But the main thing I'll say is, I think UBI has actually reached, in a way, it's actually reached my top five policies. Of course, I would just say maybe the 5 or 10 policies that I want in effect today. Um, and so, but let me just go over. So the first main point, one of the main criticisms is, well, if you give people money, they're not going to want to work anymore. They're just gonna want to stay home and be lazy, and it's not gonna be good, right? Well, and there's people walking. I disagree, and I mean, just because, look at the cost of living in this country. It's astronomically high. Healthcare, childcare, everything. The cost of living, housing. There are people in LA that decided to go homeless because they can't afford the housing in LA. So just because you give them a certain amount of money every month doesn't mean that they're just automatically gonna uh, stop working. They can't afford that. I receive SSI and I can't live off of it, right? Even though I live at home. So that's the number one thing. But what the study found, and I'll include this in the description because I know people are going to be like, where's the evidence, huh? Yeah, okay, so this is from NPR. So, just for everybody's case in point. So, reference. So, the first thing that they found was they actually found a couple of things. First, the people who got the money were 2 times more likely to be employed or to seek employment than those who didn't. So think about this. You get money, right? And you say, hey, I can pay down my rent a little bit. I can pay for my kids' childcare. I can pay for their yearbooks, their field trips. I can pay, a safe key, right? I can pay my gas bill. I can pay for my car to get detailed. I can pay, right? Different things like that. But then you still want a better job for yourself. So people actually went out and got employment. And Mayor Tubbs was on the Hill with Sagar and Jetty and Crystal Ball. And he basically said, well, you had people who could not afford to take the time to go look for better paying jobs because they couldn't afford to lose that extra $200 in pay that they would be getting should they stay at work more. Instead of going to look for better paying jobs with higher benefits and good pay and, a higher position. Well, now that people were receiving these $500, one of the people surveyed, Tomas, said, well, I was able to go and look for another job because that money covered me. So it gave people a cushion. Right? So this money was a cushion. And you know what it acts as for people? A cushion. A cushion. That's what it acts as. And, it actually, so there's another thing it did. Another argument is, well, let me say this. Another thing that happened was, it freed people up who normally were asking their aunts, their uncles, their moms, their dads, their cousins, their next door neighbors, maybe in the PTA meeting, or moms were asking their girlfriends, or someone they were asking everybody for money constantly, always asking for money, and they were always asking for help. Well, this freed that. This stopped that, and it actually helped the relationships. Mind the people upstairs again. it helped those relationships and it mended those relationships because, well, they stopped asking for that money because most times they were able to take care of themselves and their families. Another thing that was found is women were able to take care of themselves. Mainly they're taking care of their children, but now, women are buying the feminine hygiene products and pads and, pills or whatever they need because they now have money to provide as a cushion that they don't have to worry as much. Another criticism is, oh, well, you can't trust people. You're going to give them money, and what the hell are they going to do? They're going to go gamble and buy drugs and alcohol and all kinds of bull crap. Well, that right there is bullshit, because guess what? Some of the things that people were buying with this UBI kind of pilot money that they were getting was utilities, food was at the top, rent, merchandise, and drugs and alcohol were at less than 1% of the purchases. Less than 1%. The first argument is, and let them go buy drugs and alcohol. They're stimulating the economy, right? But number two, people are taking care of their necessities. When the government gives us money, I talked to my mom. I said, Mom, what are you going to use your stimulus check for? I got to pay off this loan that I got for the car to get fixed. That's $1,200. And then I got to pay this. I asked my cousin, I said, what are you going to be doing? She said, I'm going to pay down my credit cards, and I owe the IRS this much money, and I owe this for my health care. So you see that people are taking care of their needs. Gas, utilities, rent, their mortgage, food, house appliances. Maybe they need a new computer, so they're stimulating the economy that way. Maybe they, again, it's all. So this kind of reminds me of Social Security. What happened when Social Security was enacted? The Social Security Act. Well, FDR made the Social Security Act because people 65 and older were still working when they left the labor force. Or if they were too unhealthy, whatever, their kids were taking care of them and not having enough money for themselves, so they were unable to start their lives. Well, what FDR did when starting Social Security is he gave Social Security. He gave them security. Because now, hey, you're unhealthy. You paid your debts to society, or you worked your butt off. You gave us your labor. So here, we're going to give you a monthly pension, and you're going to be able to live. Maybe not lavishly, right? But you're going to be able to live, pay your rent, pay your mortgage, even though these days it's not possible. But that's essentially what they did. And this is Social Security for all. So this whole thing of, but it's all bullcrap. So, and they say, how are we going to pay for this? How about you stop all the wars and you bring all that money back here, that $740 billion a year, $750 billion that we're sending to Joe Biden to bomb Syria and Afghanistan and Yemen and Pakistan and South Sudan and all these other countries. How about we instead leave that here and we can pay for that? How about we tax the rich because they're earning more money than they need and they're already spending most of it to bribe our politicians. So why not do that and we can actually get UBI passed? But anyway, that's what I wanted to share was, and this story came out last week, I know, but this was a great and successful program and it's still going on, but this was after a year of doing the program. They released the data and the results are astounding. People were helped economically, families were given a cushion, people looked for better and higher paying jobs with good benefits, better benefits than they had been receiving, if at all. There's so many endless benefits that the study mentioned. So as I said, in a way, I was against UBI because of how Andrew Yang had laid it out. But what I think I failed to realize was how it would help people. Because, people were really struggling and they still are. And this just provides them a cushion and it's going to make them want to do better, not be lazy, right? And by the way, I would, say that we're always giving the rich money. We're giving companies who go bankrupt after some 2 weeks of lost profits, we're letting them go free. We're giving them bailouts. It's time to bail out the people. So that is the study I wanted to mention about this UBI program. It's an amazing program. It's an amazing study, and I'm gonna post it in the description so you can actually see for yourself what happened. And so I'm just hoping that maybe in the states they can pass it. So I don't mind UBI being passed in the states, and then hopefully federally. So, yay for UBI.